family. Welcome back to Dark Woke, your direct link to all things politics, comedy, and culture. I am your host, Janaya Future Khan, champ yapper and frequent nuisance in the activist and comedy worlds. Let's get dialed in. But just before we jump, Dark Woke is a self-funded, self-produced show. We're on Patreon/Dark Woke. I am so grateful for all the support and for you just taking the time to listen. Okay, we know that this episode is going to jump off with the most pressing story of this time. And it's impossible for me to even fathom that I could say that, knowing every horrible, rancid, shitty thing that is happening to us right now, despite the fact that I know we're going to come out on top. This story, I think, it captures every single instance of injustice, of culture, of race, of ethnicity, of power structures in America right now. And this is the potential deportation of grad student Mahmoud Kahlil. I was rendered almost inarticulate. So we're going to be talking about that in depth, and then we'll move into Sam Seder from the Majority Report and his debates on a college campus. I do need to preface this. While I was doing research, right, because I wanted to get a slew of experts, I went on to the BBC, right, because it's always important to get, it's not just the BBC, there's a bunch, right, but, I try to get out of just the American news cycle. What else? What are people talking about? They're on a different vibe over there. Okay, like I went over there to get I'm like, what are some legal experts outside the United States saying? And what I saw was, is there such a thing as guilt-free safari? What? Didn't y'all niggas do enough? Didn't you explore enough? Aren't you satisfied now? Leave the lions alone. The African elephants have had it with you. Go away. Their memories are long. Their memories are leave them alone. Haven't you guys done enough? Season your food. Try that. Although I'm not going to lie, a fry up is delicious. And anyone who's hating on toast and beans does not understand things that might be because I was raised in Canada and was exposed to such things in diners during the aughts. But that's neither here nor there. Have you not seen enough? Why are we even doing safari still? Everything, even the word safari, just feels vaguely racist. Just go away. Oh my God. Okay. And the other thing is the $1 million cactus heist that led to a smuggler's downfall. So I'm like, is this a new name for a drug? Like, what's going on? Cactus. No, it's literal cactus. There was a collector who over decades collected Chilean cacti that is apparently very rare. You know what, you safari niggas, why don't you go there? Why don't you go to Mr. Cactus House and look at the cacti and leave the animals alone? I'm tired of seeing you in your little khakis. Unless you're coming at me with some wild thornberry shit, that's adorable. If you're a ginger, but only girl gingers because the boys are ominous. But if you are Eliza Thornberry, you're fine. Go ahead. You're a conservationist. You can talk to animals. You care. Otherwise, leave them alone. But I was like, oh, they're on like the $1 million cactus heist that led to a smuggler's downfall. I love that this is a story that's in the BBC. And it was like featured. It wasn't like their primary featured story, but it's up there. It's up there. This is out there even for them, I have to say. I'm just like, we are in different news cycles. We're in different news cycles. Meanwhile, I click on like The Atlantic, it's been a long time since I read anything of interest over there. But Europe can't trust the US anymore. I'm like, yeah, okay. Like, it's not just in my head. They're on a different thing. I usually like their coverage. I still like their coverage. This is not mean that I don't like them. I was aghast, flabbergasted, dumbfounded, flummoxed, etc. Okay, now we need to get into Mahmoud Kahlil because this is unbelievable. So I want to paint a scene for you, okay? He's at home and it's the evening. It's Saturday night, right? He's in his university-owned apartment. He's a grad student. Just a regular person, right? He's a green card holder. He's a permanent resident, okay? While he's at home on a Saturday night, plainclothes ICE officers, right? So that's ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, show up at his door in plain clothes. And they inform him that his student visa is being revoked. He had no warnings whatsoever, right? I want to be clear. He's committed no crime. There is no crime on the record. He's not been charged with anything. There's no fucking crime. His wife is 8 months pregnant. Okay? He's hauled away in the middle of the night, having committed no crime. The reason? Well, why don't we turn to Donald Trump's statement on this, right? And I want to be really clear. A sitting president is calling out a single individual, right, who's committed absolutely no crime. He's legally here. Why is Mahmoud being targeted? Why are we targeting Mahmoud Kahlil? It's very simple. He protested for Palestine. And he did so on Columbia's campus, but he protested for Palestine. He was not charged with anything during those protests. This was months and months and months ago. So here's what Donald J. Trump, the current president of the United States, says. Following my previously signed executive orders, ICE proudly apprehended and detained Mahmoud Kahlil, a radical foreign pro-Hamas student on the campus of Columbia University. This is the first arrest of many to come. Mahmoud Kahlil is all of us. Do you understand? It's every single one of us. Anyone who says anything that the status quo and the powers that be do not like. It goes on because we need to understand who the players are that are seeing this through, right? I know some of you already know exactly what I'm talking about. We know there are more students at Columbia and other universities across the country who have engaged in pro-terrorist, anti-Semitic, anti-American activity. And the Trump administration will not tolerate it. Many are not students. They are paid agitators. This has been a very consistent lie across the board when it comes to just regular people who are organically at protests saying enough is enough. Are there paid, agitators and agent provocateurs in protests? Absolutely. They're very, very easy to identify, and they're usually trying to incite lefties to some kind of violence or action, right? I'll continue on with the statement. We will find, apprehend, and deport these terrorist sympathizers from our country, never to return again. If you support terrorism, including the slaughtering of innocent men, women, and children, your presence is contrary to our national and foreign policy interests, and you are not welcome here. We expect every one of America's colleges and universities to comply. Thank you. That is the official statement from the President of the United States against a man who participated in First Amendment rights, right? Freedom of expression. He participated in civil unrest, another guaranteed protection in the United States. And they stole him in the middle of the night. They stole him in the middle of the night. That's what they did to Mahmoud. That's what they did. They stole him in the middle of the night. So let me just break this down, right? Actually, do you know what? Why don't I read a statement, I'm pulling it up on my phone, from the ADL. Now, the ADL took responsibility for this and touted it as a win, right? So the pro-Zionist lobby, AIPAC, ADL, etc., has been advocating for, supplied the list to Donald Trump and the Trump administration because they have been collecting names. They had a direct hand in this, right? This is what they said, and that includes the Columbia Jewish Alumni Association. We firmly believe, this is the ADL statement now, we firmly believe there should be swift and severe consequences for those who provide material support to foreign terrorist organizations, incite violence in support of terrorist activities, or conceal their identities in order to harass and intimidate Jewish individuals and institutions with impunity. We appreciate the Trump administration's broad, bold set of efforts to counter campus anti-Semitism. Jesus. And this action further illustrates that resolve by holding alleged perpetrators responsible for their actions. Amazing that they would decide to write alleged under these circumstances. Obviously, any deportation action or revocation of a green card or visa must be undertaken in alignment with required due process protections. We also hope that this action serves as a deterrent to others who might consider breaking the law on college campuses or anywhere. And my concern is this, right? This is a civil rights organization. That's what the ADL is. They are a civil rights organization. That's what they are. So a civil rights organization, just like at the end of a statement, right? After saying there should be swift and severe consequences for those who provide material support to foreign terrorist organizations. Material support. What does that mean? What does material support mean, right? In regards to this, what does that actually mean? Is that sending money to Palestinians, right? Is that what that means? Here's, let me just pull in this quote here from the Columbia Jewish Alumni Association. This is all on Twitter. It's all online. They've not taken this down. They've not needed to censor themselves. Reportedly, Khalil's green card is being revoked. Good. A green card is a privilege that millions wait years for. So is studying at Columbia. Khalil threw them away. His actions prove he neither respects nor deserves the shot he was given. No one should feel sorry for him. That's coming from the Columbia Jewish Alumni Association, right? This is really gross. This is more than gross. This is egregious. This is disgusting. I'm going to lay down some other facts and then we can kind of process what's going on. So he has an attorney. His attorney, Amy Greer, has said that ICE was informed that Khalil is a permanent resident with a green card. They were informed of this. They detained him anyway, right? The New York Attorney General has said that she's stepping in and will be, actively looking at and reviewing this case. Fucking Ann Coulter. Ann Coulter had something to say about this. Let me surprise you, right? Ann Coulter. Here's her quote. There's almost no one I want to, what is it? No, hold on. I want to make sure I get this right. Here we go. There's almost no one I don't want to deport. But unless they've committed a crime, isn't this a violation of the First Amendment? Ann Coulter. Like, are you kidding? Ann Coulter, who took time away from her busy schedule, eating Prometheus's liver every day, right? This vulture for the right, this harpy for the Nazis, took time out of her day to say, unless they've committed a crime, isn't this a violation of the First Amendment? Yes, it is. This is unprecedented. This is disgusting. This is scary. I want to read something. This is a legal expert. In my years as a civil rights lawyer, I've never seen a more clear-cut, First Amendment violation or a more flagrant government declaration of intent to violate black letter law. So I looked up what black letter law was, right? Black letter law is something that is considered so entrenched, right? It's a legal rule that is so entrenched, so well established, it is no longer open to dispute. It's literally just de facto, default what it is, right? It's based on fundamental principles that are frequently used in common law, so much so that become absolutely normalized. This is also known as Hornbook law or a bright line rule, right? It is clear and unambiguous. It makes it so that judges and lawyers can apply this rule consistently and without the need to, it's precedent. It's established precedent, but it's stronger than that, right? That's what that means. So again, that statement is, I've never seen a more clear-cut First Amendment violation or a more flagrant government declaration of intent to violate black letter law. Part of the point here is to dare the courts to uphold longstanding precedent. So this is, that's from Alec Karakatsanis. Demonstrators are all over, in New York. They've already gathered together, demanding the release of Mahmoud Kahlil. And again, so much of this, and this is not to bury the lead, this is to emphasize it, right? I wanted to make sure that we understood how bad this was. It is, and I'm adding the fact that he's Palestinian, of course, right? He's a Palestinian activist who was protesting for Palestine. Now, naturally, I'm very aware of who is responsible for this, right? This is the Trump administration, but I do hope, right, for everyone and anyone out there who thought that not voting at that time made sense. And when we said, these are the rabid dogs, right, this of fascism. They will work in cahoots with Netanyahu and Putin in ways that are completely unfathomable at this point, to do some of the most unrelenting, irrevocable damage to any and everyone in their wake. And that there was, okay, well, I can't because of my moral beliefs. I don't give a damn about your personal moral fucking whatever it is. This is about values and principles. This is about understanding why we have the convictions that we do and what it actually means to be an organizer. I will always, 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 err on the side of empathy. And anytime you change your mind, you are so welcome. And you know what? Even if you don't, you're welcome if you understand and take action here. This is just me needing a moment to vent because everything that we said would happen is happening. Because I will tell you something, say what the fuck you want about America's just disgusting kowtowing to Israel and Israeli interests and just getting into bed with Jewish extremists who are more than willing to get into bed with fucking Nazis to see through their agenda, right? We know that was going to happen with Kamala Harris, for sure. But this would not be happening. And you've not heard me say that. You've not heard me say that before. And that's because I generally rein it back, and it is not a big enough, hill to die on. I'm much more invested in bringing us together. But you should change. This should be the moment where you realize that you were wrong. This should be it. Because this man was dragged out of his house in the middle of the night for protesting for Palestine. And there are white people in this country with very, very bigoted beliefs. And there are just as many white people in this country who do not have bigoted beliefs, who believe in something better. But the bad ones, they put his name on a list. And they keep the score. Do you? They keep the score. And I know because I've been on my fair share of lists. I'm still on my fair share of lists. It wasn't a coincidence that I got into comedy. But I'm angry, and this can't be one of those things, y'all, that we move on from. Like, I will be following this case with everything that I have. There, obviously, with Columbia and everything else, they have a very active student body. The Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine, which is the PFLP, is the left-wing Palestinian resistance group. They're calling on progressive forces, human rights organizations, and student unions in the United States and worldwide to take urgent action to expose the crackdown on Palestinian rights advocates on U.S. college campuses. I want to be very clear. It is not a coincidence that this is happening at the exact same time that they are erasing the gigantic mural in Washington. Now, these two things are not in the same in terms of scale, not even fucking close. Okay. But that's the point, is to erase everything. And if you can stamp out the voices of any kind of feminist or women, if you can eradicate any kind, even the glimmer of Black resistance, you can isolate these activists. You can isolate the Palestinian cause. And the best way to do that, to isolate the Palestinian cause, is to remove the population of people who have historically been the most loud and aligned with Palestinian justice. And that is Black radical movements. They are directly connected. I support his wife. Oh my God. Everyone will fight this. Everyone will be fighting this. And I don't know. Because this administration is something like we've never seen. I want to continue on with the PFLP statement. The recent actions reveal, quote, the true fascist face, end quote, of the Trump administration. The group said in a statement, they called Trump's push to detain and deport student activists a, quote, systemic oppression campaign, and said, quote, this repressive behavior will not scare free people, nor will it stop courageous voices from continuing to support the Palestinian cause. Another reason why this is happening now is because our fervor died down. And it's okay that that happens. That is the natural course of movements and activations. It's very, very peak. But the silence wasn't coming from us. It never was. It was coming from the powers that be, from the institutions, because of the overt, deranged McCarthyism that we saw when it came to censoring anyone who had something to say about Palestine. We are past the point of infighting. We're past it. The ADL, the Zionist lobby, powerful Jewish extremist forces in America, entities, massive entities, unbelievably powerful entities like AIPAC, like who gets to decide who is sitting in, who gets to sit in Congress, who ousted 2 Black congressional leaders, right? Bowman and Bush, who believed and were outright and outspoken on Palestine. Are we ready to, are we seeing the overlaps now? And the thing that I despise about horseshoe theory, which is where we are under fascist duress, etc., is that the only group that has been as consistent of late speaking on Palestine as much as these college activists and, Black folks, Black liberation leaders, the JVP, if not now, etc., right, has been the right. That's horseshoe, all right. Yeah. Of course, we stop the buck at the point of anti-Semitism on our side. They don't. But we are 100% aligned when it comes to questioning, right? And again, the Trump administration is not questioning it. They're actually working alongside these extremist groups, these Jewish extremist groups, in a way that is despicable. There's a foreign entity, right, for this pro-patriot, pro-American movement. How do you justify a foreign entity having this much power and oversight over you? Donald Trump did not know fucking Mahmoud Khalil's name. Absolutely not. He had no idea who that was. He wasn't running on this campaign, leading up to his election. No, he said, I'm gonna end the war. What we knew was we knew what those words meant. And the problem is with this whole FAFO bullshit, fuck around and find out, is it's never you who has to find out. It's always going to be trans women or fucking Muslims and Palestinians. It's never you. And the you is not you, right? It's the people who love to wax poetic about their morals and their fucking values that are untested and unchallenged. And I got to get over it. I think just no, this is like so self-centered, and just indulge me for a moment, if you will. But again, just coming down to like, what is my best contribution? And I've really been thinking about that with trans shit. I'm realizing how this word is so gay, empathy, and how I have to be empathy forward. And it means swallowing some of my anger, and my frustrations, because we demonstrate the same way we're in the horseshoe theory. We actually demonstrate very consistent themes of ignorance and stupidity and entitlement and self-absorption that I see on the right. When it comes to believing we know what we're talking about. And one of the things that when you really know stuff, is knowing how much you don't know. But the hubris, it's something like I've never seen before. And I know it means that I'm supposed to have more empathy. And I got to get back on my fucking Baldwin cadence and MLK shit. With some of the content that because that's my job. But it's, and again, I really appreciate you indulging me in this, but it's like, and we've all done it. We all do it in our own ways, but it's a hard fucking job when you have to not allow yourself, your emotions to be too indulged. It's hard to do that. And we all have some experience of that. It's not unique to me because I'm so angry. And what we can't do, right, which is what my initial inclination was to reach for the most accessible, easy thing, which is everybody who was yapping about how Trump is just as bad. And I issued the warnings. I said, I understand. We went through this in BLM in 2016. It broke us up. By 2017, the end of 2017, the movement was no more. We never fully recovered from our last, what's that thing when people come together? It's not a conference or, whatever, convergence, whatever the word is. I can't remember. My brain's a little bit fried right now, because I'm raw dogging sleep. Because I'm too groggy in the morning if I take something with THC in it, but I have sleep problems. You all know this. But yeah, sorry. I've indulged my emotions too much. But yeah, it's just, I'm so frustrated because I said they didn't point to me the things that the groups that said that Trump and Clinton were the same. Point to me what they've done. Cause I've researched. There's no body of work, but I can literally point to the work that people that said they're not the same in their practices And so we have to be very strategic because we cannot use people as as lessons to be learned. We don't get to do that. That is called restraint. That's called leadership, right? When you can swallow that shit and focus on what needs to be done. So that's what I have to do. That's what we have to do right now. I have to have empathy for blowhards. And we have to not do the thing we want to do, which is reach for the lowest hanging fruit and say, fuck you guys. Well, say it once and then we got to move on. Because this is, and the threats in Trump's language. Now we can move back into, the meat of stuff. In the same thing with the ADL. And the same thing with this, this Columbia Jewish, Alumni Association. It's the same thing with AIPAC. There's a promise that if you speak out against Israel, you're done. If you speak out against this administration, you're done. And should this happen, should a legally protected permanent resident of America be deported having committed absolutely no crime, everyone is in danger. Everyone. And that was the whole point. This is where we have to speak even more. And I want to be really clear. Do not clip this. I'm in the same boat. You know this, I just, I'm not a person who prays. It's not really my thing. And I think I want to, whatever that means, because I want this man safe. He is every single one of us. And niggas are out here talking about fucking safaris, and I just can't with England right now. It's just like, everybody's having a better time than us here in the U.S. Sucks here so bad. I love America. I love America. To whoever's listening, I'm very pro-America, and I love it here, and I would love to stay. Everything I say is because I love America, and I believe in it so much, and all of you know this. I've said it 1 trillion times. Everything else was me reading other things. I love America, and I believe in America, and I believe in the First Amendment, and I believe in the Constitution, and I believe in patriotism in the truest sense of the word. America is awesome. America is awesome. And also, free Mahmoud Kahlil. Free him, because he is protected. I believe in the First Amendment. I agree with Ann Coulter. I love America. Okay. Yeah. So that is this. We're going to be following this very, very closely. Every significant new update, every protest, every person who's participating in getting him free. This has implications on every single one of us. Now, one thing to note, right? It's important. There was a version of Donald Trump that could that could be moved by shame and outrage. I don't think that this is that Donald Trump. That tactic needs to be tried. The legal tactics need to be tried. The organizing tactics need to be tried. Everything has to happen at once. This is not acceptable. Everything that they're doing right now is testing the waters. It's why this guy's tariffs fucking implode every 5 seconds. He decides he's doing it, then he's not doing it. He's doing it, then he's not doing it. We're probably headed for a recession because of that. He's telling the people who voted for him because he ran on cheaper groceries to bite the fucking bullet while he eats I was going to say filet mignon, but I'm pretty sure he really fucks with McDonald's. McDonald's? If you guys are watching, if any of you are out there who work there, and are in DC, you know what to do, which is to give him the crispiest fries and the most delicious of burgers. You know what to do with the make it healthy and delicious. Okay. So as promised, I think there's something that's happening with us and with this show, and I can't put my finger on it, but I mentioned, we're in this explorative phase, in this experimental phase, but there's something that's really coming together. And then there's a couple of pieces that feel like they're just locking in. And I don't know if you're feeling that too, but I'm feeling it, and it makes me feel good. So anyway, the point, and then I'll move into the Sam Seder stuff, because I think I might be a little bit too tired, and so I'm all over the place. Hopefully that's not your experience of me. But the point of this show is to be a large enough platform, and it's going to take time. And, I'm using the next couple of months to really lock in, how it's working. Which also means, I'm going to be deeply investing in this show over the next several months, more so than I thought was, myself capable of. Bringing on people who can help because the point of this work that we are doing together is to be a large enough platform that when we say something and when something like this happens, that we can have measurable impact. That's the point. It's for moments like these. I'm so glad we're here, because even though we're not at critical mass right now, we're doing the work of critical connections, and we keep losing on the cultural aspect of things, and we keep losing on the communication side of things. We do not have enough. We don't have enough voices out there that are tapped in a particular way. So we're here. And for that, I'm so unbelievably grateful. Now our job is to be useful as we are. So I mentioned Sam Seder from the Majority Report. I like him. And I like him and Emma Vigilant, and they do lefty programming. We'll obviously be in conversation with them at some point, but he was pulled in by Jubilee Media to do the thing that I hate, but that I realize is probably a thing that has to be done, which is one progressive versus 20 MAGAs, and it's really giving two girls one cup. When really the progressives feel like it's one guy, but it's like two girls. Two girls probably make about what one guy makes in America anyway. So, but the cup of shit is definitely what we're about to be exposed to. These are younger people, so I know what it's like to be in your, early 20s and have more feelings than you do facts. And having done 2 college tours myself on behalf of the movement, I have had every interaction you can imagine. I've had people rush the stage. I've had people protest outside, protest inside. I've had events canceled because of bomb threats. I've had people yell and heckle from the stands, and come, en masse, and, you name it. I've had people scream in my face. Nobody's ever beaten me. Like, you can't. I grew up with Esther. Do you know what I mean? That's my mom. Esther. Black woman, Jamaican, Jewish name. You think you can rankle me? Get the fuck out of here. But watching this and listening to this, as you will, the majority of you're going to be so fucking irritated. But here's the thing. These are the folks. This is what, they have learned everything from the media ecosystem that currently exists in the manosphere, and they think that they are correct. I don't know whether to start you out with Nazi Girl or let me just, let's just start us out with Nazi Girl. brace yourself. These are the people that you have managed to avoid talking to for many, many a year, right? So Sam Seder is going to patiently try to work through some of the stuff with this person. And I'm going to dispel some of the assertions that she makes that are just absolutely not true. Here we go. Here we go.
What's the problem with xenophobic nationalism? Don't you think that's better for Americans in general?
To be xenophobic nationalism is better.
We should have a coherent.
So remember, everyone's watching this in a group. So there's a circle. Sam sits in the middle. There's a timer. Somebody has to like run to the seat to try to debate Sam and make their points. With varying degrees of points. Not a lot of points. Not a lot of points. A lot of yapping. A lot of assertions. Not a lot of facts.
Coherent culture. Everyone should be a part of the same culture. We should have assimilation.
Which, do you get to choose what the culture is?
We already have a dominant culture.
What is
based
the dominant
on
culture?
European and Christian values and identity. That is the dominant culture.
White Christian,
it's rooted in European identity.
White. So your argument is
that has been the dominant culture.
Just to be clear.
And we're not letting people assimilate to that. We're saying you should keep your culture, and this is why our culture is so divided.
Your argument is that Trump is good for those who want a dominant white European culture.
I mean, that is what America is. It's rooted in European identity and Christian values. I'm
going to pause right there. This is actually not true at all. I want to bring, this is why, because where Sam definitely crushes, he absolutely crushes on economics. He's so fucking well informed, right? But this is why, and it's our fault because we're too cute and we have lives and we're not dying online. I'm willing to for us, and you're coming on this journey with me. But they don't get the queers out. They don't get the, the transvestites and the transgenders and whatever I am. I'm pretty sure I'm in both of those categories. They don't get they don't get any of us out. They don't get the faggots out. We know how to fight. We know how to win. We know how to debate. And in this moment right here with this assertion, right, that's what America is. It's rooted in these European values. No, simple bitch. No. And of course, if I'm there, I'm not alienating people. That was one of my big things, not alienating people, especially because I know what it's like to be that age. I was doing this college tour when I myself was in my 20s, having people, and I looked younger than I do, now. I don't know what I look like, but when I was 26, 27, I looked, like I looked younger than that. And this assertion, this premise is just false. I want you to remember where Americans, before they were American, came from, right? Because we'll talk about the indigenous folks in a second. These people got on boats to pursue a, quote, better life, right? They pursued, that means they were the losers in Europe. The merchant class that ended up coming here, becoming barons, etc., they weren't doing well in fucking Europe. You think why would anybody leave? We're talking about aristocracy. This was entrenched wealth. Old money, but the oldest money, okay? So the people who came here were losers. I want to remind you of what England, etc., was at that time. It was full of backwater religious zealots. These niggas was dirty, okay? As of today, white people do not wash their legs, just generally. You little baboons. I know it. You gotta take your rag or your scrub brush or your loofah, and you gotta wash your legs. It doesn't just run down. Runoff is not clean. That's not what gets the dead skin off, okay? They came here with scurvy and all kinds of shit, and they quickly took their most of them were their mid-level resources and quickly tried to work out how to rule America. Not only were they backwater zealot losers, okay? The concept of freedom itself, and first of all, I would have trapped this person anyway. I would have asked, so you're saying these things are, so they came here, they didn't, freedom is not an American value. It's a native value. It's an indigenous value. The indigenous peoples here were the ones who actually exposed these zealot backwater freaks from Europe to the concept of individual freedom and expression. Their culture at that time was ruled, obviously you had different setups around chiefs, tribes, etc. But they had councils, and those councils were moved by persuasion. You had to persuade people. They introduced folks to these folks in this new small America to the concept of debate, to the concept of freedom. In fact, fast forward a few decades, they loved it. Like any European that was exposed to indigenous culture and native culture here in so-called America, Turtle Island, right? I love America. Anyone who is exposed, they wouldn't come back. Like Benjamin Franklin wrote this in a letter. Go ahead and look it up. We have to stop sending our people out there to to go scare up or negotiate or whatever. We've got to stop because they don't come back. They loved it so much when they were exposed to this way of being, which shockingly did not include having people on the fucking streets. Indigenous folks were genuinely confused by that. You want to know what my sourcing is? Why don't you read the fucking people's history? That's a fast forwarded version. You want the actual brass tacks? You need to read the Dawn of Everything. It's in there. Everything is cited. And again, remember, bibliographies are fantastic, right? So her entire basis is the premise of her argument is unilaterally false, completely false. But anyway,
that's what it has been. Would you really disagree with that? What is it then if that's not the identity of America?
Well, I think the identity of America...
For the majority of time, America's been a country. You don't think that's been the identity?
Well, actually, no. I think actually the identity of America has been, for better or for worse, a melting pot in that regard.
Yeah, maybe since the 1960s.
Also, false. I don't even need to. Do I even need to break down how unbelievably fucking false that is? Also hilarious, right? Oh, the identity of America through the 60s. It's a very convenient place to start.
Even then, even we had this idea of a melting pot literally means assimilation too.
Into each other, simple bitch. Oh my God.
It means melting. It means you're assimilating to the dominant culture. Is that not what melting means?
No, it doesn't
and
mean
now
you're
instead we're saying there's something wrong with xenophobia.
Dominant culture. No. I mean, look, I got to be honest with you. You and I have a fundamental disagreement. We will never see eye to eye on this. It's a choice. And people, I think...
I really love his point here, right? He is tacitly putting on display her obstinacy. We are never going to agree on this. You are so fixed in your position that you hear nothing. And if you see the set of her mouth and her jawline, you know that and that's just the facts. And this is what I mean when I say people come in with these feelings. They don't want to engage, but you still plant seeds anyway. And what I really appreciate, is that he's saying we're not only are we it's a choice. This is, you're choosing to believe this. You are presenting it as fact, but it's actually a choice that you are making. And it's fine if you want to make that choice, but at least be honest that you're making that choice.
People, I think what you're expressing, though, is really what the Trump movement at its heart is about. Yep. And I think that's problematic.
I disagree. I don't think Trump's anywhere close to being a Christian nationalist. That's ridiculous. Trump...
LOL.
It's basically a Democrat from 15 years ago when it comes to
LOL. And she says when it comes to social
So you
issues.
don't think that he's conservative enough for you?
Oh, definitely. Nowhere close. No.
He's not xenophobic enough for you?
That's a good take.
No, he's trying to pour a bunch of H-1Bs. Are you kidding?
Right. Oh, so you want to get them out too? Yeah. No, I think you're making my argument for me.
And at that point, he's 100% right. He's 100% right. But, these are not the types of folks in that state of mind that can hear anything, but it's so important for, first of all, this is very much making the rounds in the culture, but it's important to demonstrate and to see what it actually looks like and sounds like to engage with the other side. Whether or not we want to, I think is no longer relevant. If we aren't willing to, here's something I'll say, because I did bring up Black Lives Matter too. And one day, you know, like I said, when the book comes out, et cetera, I will talk about it at length. And even maybe we can all do some special apps together. But, you know, one of the things I never really got over was the failure of leadership in defense of who the leadership was at that time. There wasn't really nobody left, which initially worked to the advantage of folks who wanted to streamline a message and then didn't, and streamline a message and also kind of be the person. And, you know, at this time by 2020, the movement's over in the purest sense of the word. And, you know, I was working at Color of Change, and I knew I had a job to play come 2020, but for the people. But one of the things I never really got over was the fact that we didn't come out, like I'll use the collective we, this on the left as well. We didn't come out swinging. And I think a lot of people on the left were looking for permission from the leadership or the explanation that they needed. But even then, the lack of trust, the fact that, you know, I will never put it on the people. I think that anyone who said Black Lives Matter, anyone who uttered the phrase, anyone who marched, whatever, they were entitled to a shield. And I will never forgive the leadership. That doesn't mean that I will punish or whatever. It's partly why we have dark woke. I will just never forgive the fact that and no one came out swinging. And I'm going to tell you something about Black folks. We respect fighters. Whether or not you can present everything in the facts as they are, because maybe you don't have them, or maybe it takes time, right? You still have to come out fucking swinging. We do not have enough people throwing punches on our side in the culture. We don't. And we have had our nose in the air a little bit across the left, which is like, I don't need to engage with that. So, and the problem is that you still need to get your shots in because we're people. We have shit to say. So we keep throwing punches at the left right now, right? I had to swallow my anger, my disgust, my frustration, and redirect that energy where it ought to be. We might not want to engage these folks. You might think it's a waste of time, but there are a lot of people who need to hear from us, who need to hear from you, who need to hear from me. This is a world where we have to fight for what we believe in and who we are. And I'm game. I'm fucking game. I will be that person. I will be that person for us. You know, and I know that there will be times when each and every single one of you join me in it. And there are people out there who are swinging even harder than I am. And some of them are listening to this podcast right now. That's what community is. And I'm so unbelievably grateful. Here's this other thing I gotta, here's another debate that, brace yourself. Don't worry, this is our last one, I think. Maybe we'll play a clip or two, but.
Trump's attack on DEI hides his real goal, which is to give corporations more power.
So that's an assertion.
DEI essentially
okay, hold on. Wait a second.
Provides tax cuts.
So we just gotta, okay, so I know you guys, I know the majority of you are not listening. I'm sorry, are listening only and not looking at the visuals. But this MAGA person, this is a faggot. I'm sorry, this is a they, them. This is, did you not hear that fag scent? Hold on.
DEI essentially provides tax cuts.
The sides of his head are shaved. That is a queer haircut. You are speaking through you have little glasses on, like you're wearing a scarf, I think. What is happening? What is this? Sir, you are a they, them. You have read The Ethical Slut. Your eyebrows are done. I understand that there was a slippery slope that happened during the pandemic where a lot of men went online A lot of men went online and then got red pilled, okay? But my nigga, the other pill you take is PrEP. Can we be serious for a minute? Oh my God. Oh my God. He's wearing a forest green button up, okay? His glasses are rose gold in its light metal frame. Do not play with me right now. Do not. This is ridiculous. This is one of ours. I can't. And listen to the arguments here, because my goodness, I'm going to just pull it back because you guys, he's in heeled boots. It's a one of those shawl sweaters. Do you understand? Okay.
DEI essentially provides tax cuts for the end of the year. When you create your tax returns, they give you a tax credit for hiring someone who is Black or a person of color.
We're talking about government agencies that do not get tax cuts. They don't. Government agencies.
They don't.
No,
Yes, they do.
Oh my God. Okay, so there's this. Bless Sam. Bless him. Bless him. Bless him. Because, wow. I love how also this person uses their like vague ethnic ambiguity. I know that this person's walking around because there's a demonic smile that I froze it on right here when he's like, yes, they do. Like literally you're being presented with a fact and you're like, no, I'm the one that's right here.
They absolutely do.
I'm talking about
every private and public sector gets tax cuts when you hire a person of color.
Government agencies don't pay taxes. Government agencies operate are funded by the government.
That is not true. That is not true. And you know what?
Oh my God. Government agencies are funded by the government. Government agencies are funded by the government. Government agencies are funded by the government because they're government agencies. And so when an agency is a government agency, it's funded by the government. And somehow, this very clear closeted homosexual does not understand that, does not compute, outright rejects it.
I think the whole juxtapose of this.
Sorry, Sam's face, he looks away and into the camera. I have never loved a white man more in my life because I'm telling you, right? I love anyone and everyone, right? Who's moving through this fucking planet. That's just the default position I have to hold. I might not like a lot of people, okay? But there is a place in my heart for white people who endure other white people, who understand what it is like. And it's a somatic experience. And you can see it. It's not a unique love. It's not a deeper love. It is something when you are like, oh, these are my people. That's when we become the people. You become the people when you have that out of body experience of like, you don't lose yourself, of utter just fatigue and powerlessness in the moment because you're like, I am powerless to make you smarter. I can't make you understand. I would love to. The creases in this man's forehead, he's earned them. I love this man. Sam Seder, you fucking saint.
This entire conversation.
What month is this?
This is January.
Okay, so we can agree on that.
Now, actually, this is it's funny and it's cute, and he had to say it several times, but it's actually a very, very useful tactic because it undermines, very, very quietly, it undermines the person's obstinacy. It also puts it on display for people who are there. And it forces an agreement, right? Somebody comes in and they're saying, coming with the Mitch McConnell play. I'm not going to agree with anything you say. I don't like you. I don't fuck with you. I'm going to reject everything. Da 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 da. It suggests that there is objective fact. And it asserts that and forces it into the conversation. And whether or not the person knows it, it slightly disarms them.
The FDA does
He
not
still has his evil
pay
smile on. Just like the girl did. And like, I try to stay away from this language. I really do. And I'm not applying it to these college students because I partly why I hated these college student debates is because they're not fair. I'll do them, but I'm NBA. That's D League. And that's the majority of of people is D League. But if you came to play, you came to play. This is now a scientific fact, an overlap between racism and stupidity, having a lower IQ. That is an objective scientific fact that people who have lower IQs and are less informed are more likely to be bigoted and cruel. And this is a country that fosters and cultivates ignorance. I know that I don't believe in the bullshit, first of all, race-based science is fucking bullshit, but the idea that, IQ is innate and da-da-da. I know that to me is more, I was called stupid. I was thought to be stupid for a lot of years when I was younger. I was very easily dismissed. I was often dismissed, and it was only, certain moments or performances on, some of these standardized tests. They're not the same in Canada like here. They're used in a more, they still have different levels of education and tiers based on how you perform and how you're projected to perform. So I want to be really clear on that. It's just the system is not as sophisticated, and it's often used to determine. And so yes, there's racism involved, whatever, but it's often used to determine, what the reading level is across the country, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, I thought I was stupid for a long time. I thought I was stupid and worthless and ugly and all the things that I was told that I was, by the world, at home, whatever, in school. And so I really try to hold back from saying that a lot of people on that side are fucking stupid. I do not apply that to college students, not because they're in college, absolutely the fuck not, but because they're young. And they're responsible for what they say and what they do. I just know that your brain's not fully developed yet, and you can see how emotional they are. Like everything is an attack. And I have been around insecure people, and that's what it is for them. Everything, and that's not to say that we all don't have insecurities, but when your insecurities are in the driver's seat, you can see it, because everything that you say, everything is seen as can only be filtered through the lens of me, and how small I feel and how this made me feel, and has nothing to do with what you're saying at all. But it's a really good time to plant seeds, and what the right has done far more effectively, right, than we could ever really fully gather, is they have spent time on college campuses. What's important to note is that there has been an assumption that liberalism or progressivism is the default culture in America. It's run on those laurels, right? It's never had to deal with fascism, actual fascism, the way that history has, right? We had chattel slavery, but somehow that gets brushed aside. Still is. It'll be another probably full year, ideally faster, but before we start moving back into race-based politics in terms of popularity, because everyone's going to start to be like, well, who's going to save us? And then Black women are going to have to dust off their shit, and all the all the fucking Mexican women and queers are going to have to be like, fuck, and pull out the Doc Martens, and but all of this shit is connected. Anyway, let me just play this awful person's voice again.
It does not get a tax cut because it doesn't pay taxes. DEIA forces them as an agency to say, if you have a job opening, You must do your best efforts to make sure that every
I like that.
part
I love
of
me a
society.
buzzword.
You see what a cunt this person is?
You must do your best effort. I love that buzzword.
Okay,
Because you
pause.
feel like you have to, you're pressured
Pause.
to.
What the fuck?
Yes.
You shouldn't be pressured to hire someone based on skin color.
No,
Nobody
not to
said
hire
that.
someone on
Yeah.
skin colored, but put up notice about that the job exists. Make sure that you put it in different communities so that you have as wide an application pool as possible.
And
Sounds
therefore
great.
you get
All
tax
right.
cuts.
And therefore you get tax cuts. That's how the person ended their bit. So, you plant seeds, but how many people see this beyond that exchange? How many people interact with it beyond that exchange? How many people in the room might have realized how absurd some of the things that they think are when it's actually said out loud? That's what made satire so brilliant. What people tend to do is pretend that they're good, and this is one of the largest hangups that I've seen with white folks. If there is a major cultural difference outside of waspism, is that white people are genuinely believe in this concept of being a good person and are so stuck on that it's more about how they feel about themselves versus what you do in the world and who you surround yourself with. Whereas I think if you are somebody who is racialized or grew up in a different religion or who grew up poor or disabled, etc., right? So there's a very specific mythical norm I'm referring to here. You understood that you were not good because look what happened to you. If you were good, you would have a normal body. If you were good, you would have white skin. If you were good, you would live in this kind of house. If you were good, you'd have these kinds of parents. And so there are ways that I think that people understand at a younger age that they're not, but even still, a lot of white people who go through hardship still have this. And I mean, every single white person in my life, I've had this problem with. Every single one that I love, I've had this fight where I've been like, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking about your idea of you, and I can't reach you. And if I can't reach you, then we can't have a deep, meaningful relationship because you're not ready to let go of the story of you yet. I had to let go of the story of me because if I had accepted the story that I was born into, I would have accepted my own destruction, right? And a lot of us know this and understand that, but it's been the biggest fight. We've got to let go of this idea of being good people. It doesn't exist. There is no good person. There's no bad person because there's something conclusive about that. No, we are the collective sum of the decisions that we make, and it is okay to change your mind. I love a redemption arc. I fucking love it. I love a redemption arc. Give me one. I'll eat it up. A lot of people are like, how did this happen, right? Wealth proximity tends to lean you more right. A lot of university students come from middle, upper, and very wealthy families. That is becoming more and more true, right? That is the majority. The vast majority of post-secondary schools in America are white. That's another reason why they're going to tilt a little bit more to the right. They just haven't been organized by this way. We know that a lot of young men were red-pilled during Gen Z, and so were women. That's what you're seeing. And there's a lot of misogyny, and that is driving so much of this because a lot of what is being demonstrated is not what I believe a man to be, but what I hate about women. And that is why there is an attack on empathy, right? And then debate bro culture, but that's something I think we have to participate in. Wow. Okay. This one's even fucking longer. Jesus, will I ever stop talking? Please tell me you're having a good time. At least. Because, but it's not just this one guy, by the way. You should see the dudes. You should see the way that these, dudes look. They all looked queer. I know you can't see, but I gotta pull this up. It's so funny. Look at this one guy. Okay, there's another bespectacled man who has a John Mulaney middle part. Okay, and his His sideburns, he's got a fullet. We made that, and a mustache. We made that. You got baby fat on your face, sir. No. No. That's a homosexual. This other guy, homosexual. I don't know what's going on, but that's the thing. Queer aesthetics, out the fucking, out the window with the queer politics. But this is how men are being told. This is what men are supposed to be like now. So I'm like, well, I guess I'm going to have my testosterone and show you how to do it. That's not how it goes. Anyway, all right. You know what? It is 1:10. I'm going to hold off on the question of the day. I've done way too much yapping. You guys, you're enabling me. You're my enablers, and bless you. God bless you for it. Because I am a big pro God, one God in America. God loves America. America loves God. I love America. Shout out to the CIA and FBI. What's left of you? Big fan. I am pro-American. Pro-America. Yes. Pro-Constitution, pro-First Amendment, and with that in mind, free Mahmoud Kahlil. Okay, let me just get fucking God. I'm not. What's wrong with me, all? Somebody save me. I need more electrolytes. I'm so ashy. All right. I just want to say thank you so much for listening to Dark Woke. It means the world to me. The show really is a labor of love. My face just hit the mic. Oh my God. All of our episodes, they're everywhere. Podcasts are. Dark Woke is self-funded. If you love this show, please feel free to support it as best you can. Don't forget, I want to hear from you. Drop your questions, whatever they are, to darkwokejfk@gmail.com. Shout out to KR and the JFK team. And shout out to you, the listeners that make it all possible. We are on our fucking way. We're going to the top. Don't forget to build out your dreams. I love you. See you soon.